Okay. Oh, glasses. Poop. Hello, it is Tuesday, all day, nearly at the end of it. And we've had a super day today, and I hope that it's all Friends Day, that's correct. Everybody should be taking down their Christmas decorations as of now, apparently. That's what All Saints Day, that's when we used to take down our decorations in Scotland, which is dead simple because I've only got a Christmas tree up. And all it's got on it is white light. So there. Oh, goodness. So I hope everybody's had a lovely Tuesday. We've had a very busy day. It is very cold. It was desperately cold overnight. We were predicted to have between 1 to 3 inches of snow, and I would say we probably got about a quarter of an inch. So, yeah, so that's quite good. Nothing wrong with that. And Janine and I went out to the Home for the Deaf today for our job, and it was a lovely visit. Obviously, they're very different to the normal visits that we do in that it's a far quieter environment. and that's obviously quite natural given it's the home for the deaf, and it's a lovely place to go to. It's very nice seeing the same people again, and some of the people who actually have been to the farm, which is super. And we took Larky and Wanda, and we took Moose the rabbit, and we had Miss Delightful and Sterling. So it was a pretty cool event. And Sterling is still in training, and he gets so much confidence from Delight. It really is absolutely super. He watches her, does what she does, and it's really funny because I've noticed that what happens in the arena is very often the donkeys make a right mess of the hay bags, and they pull the hay out and a bit goes on the ground. And I've noticed that Delight goes after the donkeys and she cleans up all the hay that's on the ground. It seems to be her preferred way of eating hay. So when we had the frying pan out and we had the horse treats in for the two mini horses, Mr. Sterling, he makes a little bit of a mess and some of it goes down onto the ground, but Miss Delightful, she just follows after and she hoovers up the mess at the bottom. So she does an absolutely fantastic job. She's an absolute little sweetheart. He's very good. He's loading onto the trailer extremely well. He's a bit more hesitant than she is, and I think it's because it's very slippy. So when you go in, he's very often got snow on his feet, so it's not quite as secure a jump on as it would be ordinarily. And jumping out, he knows that he's going to be jumping onto the snow, so he's a bit hesitant, but he does such a phenomenal job. He's really absolutely super. So people are just delighted to see both Larky and Wanda, and then the rabbit comes in, and then we bring in the horses, and it's such a nice visit. Now, I think one of the loveliest things was noticing that there's a lady who is both deaf and blind, and I've got a really nice video which I'm going to post online, and it just shows her, we take the animals up and we wait for her, they give her a signal, they tap, and she puts her hands forward, and then she guesses what animal it is, and she's like, she was in Sterling's ears, and she said small ears, and it's so lovely because he just stands there and he's like, yeah, whatever, treats are coming, this is great. So it's just a really nice, different thing to do. So the animals do exceptionally well, and I think we bring a lot of happiness and stimulation to the people that we visit. So that's really wonderful. Now, let me see. Oh no, am I supposed to have taken them down on 12th day? I don't know. I get so confused. Right, okay. So, that was a super visit this morning. And then they did Carlene's INR readings. And it's way above 4 again. It's still at about, she was at 4.8, I think it was. And we're trying to get that down pretty sharpish. So she's now down at 4.2. So she's misbehaving. She had salad for lunch. I think she's maybe not eating enough salad. And I know why. Because I noticed on Saturday, she and Justin were having a Chinese takeout. And she had deep fried food. So I'm telling all the tales. She had deep fried food, and then I happened to know that there was enough left over for Saturday. So I did say to her yesterday, I said, have you been eating salad? And she went, oh, and I said, because you didn't over the weekend. She went, maybe not. So Janine and I picked her up a salad from Panera, and she had that for lunch. So we're trying, she's trying her best to get her INR down to a better level. And she's going to stay put at the moment because I fell in the barn this morning. I think Janine fell yesterday, so we're keeping Carlene in the house under wraps and bubble wrap just to make sure that she doesn't inadvertently have any accidents. It is desperately slippy at the moment, so yeah. And other sensible things that you do when it's freezing cold is Janine and Michelle are clipping Janine's horses this afternoon. because they're going down to Aiken, and unfortunately Aiken is suffering, and they have 61-degree temperatures at the moment, which is absolutely horrific. So Chester and Sunshine, they have their winter coats in at the moment, so they have to be clipped so that when they go out, they don't overheat. So they have to be clipped. And I think the plan at the moment, as we know, subject to change, is for Janine to go down on Thursday, and she will travel them down. So they're going to be bundled up in big heavy blankets until they reach South Carolina, poor souls. So that's where Janine and Michelle are at the moment. And she did load the small chicken house that David sent for us onto the trailer, I think, because she's taking down the 2 white chickens who did chicken chatting on Friday, and they're going down to South Carolina to be part of this program. So the little chicken house is traveling down to house those chickens safely while she's down there, and then when she comes back up, she'll just bring the chickens and the chicken house back up. It's probably better than it's sitting empty here, because what happens when things sit empty here is we end up with things like mice moving in. So it will go down to a far warmer climate and be made good use of. And those ducks are flying around all over the place. I have had a very stern word with Nick, and he said, I don't know what to do about it. He said, they fly. I'm like, yes, they do. It isn't the ducks from Hood Pond, it's his muscovy ducks. And I am underwhelmed by his muscovy ducks, because I have stood at 8:30 at night shining a torch onto the big pond while Nick's trying to tempt the ducks back to the house. It does not work. They are not interested. They very much live their own life. But he does get rather frantic when he doesn't have all 9 of his ducks in. But there's not much we can do. They're very good flyers. They can get to some height. And I think there's a very lovely person who does remind me that the ducks are out, which is super. And I was late for mail chat yesterday because I was chasing a duck around the driveway and couldn't catch it. So I'm not sure what to do with the ducks. We can trim the flight feathers on one side of their body. And I'm very hesitant to do that because these things fly all the time, and I feel that they're probably better served having their flight feathers because they take off from standing and they're off. And I'm hoping that should we have any problems with predators, or even a dog that's out, because let's face it, we have the dogs out loose. I would like to think that the ducks would have a better ability to actually escape as opposed to be a sitting duck, obviously. The chickens, I do trim their flight feathers on one side, because when the chickens come out, they're straight into my backyard, and I have 7 dogs in my backyard, and that's just not pretty. So that's why I trim the chickens. But the ducks, they are absolutely determined to get to the big pond, and they land on it and they skid to a halt eventually. So, and both ponds are frozen solid, and in fact, Hood Ponds, everybody's ice fishing, they're ice skating, and they're playing ice hockey. So winter games have begun. The ice is extremely thick and very slippy, obviously. So that's what's going on here. And I'm trying to think. Miss Jamie's doing well. She's a wee sweetheart. Sterling, I'm so impressed by Sterling. He's fantastic. He's very good fun. And Delight's just doing a wonderful job. The goats, as usual, are fantastic. The turkeys are noisy, very noisy. I don't know what gives with that big fawn turkey, but he seems to just love annoying that little goat. And he comes up and he sort of chest bumps her, and as she puts her head down, it's the most peculiar thing. They don't seem to be damaging one another. It seems to be what they do. So I do keep an eye on it, and I make sure that there's no damage on either the turkey or the or it's petal actually we go for. I have tried as well, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but sometimes that turkey, he just does not let the female turkey eat. So there are occasions when I think he's been particularly bossy that I do actually bring the chicken's food and I pop it, I leave him in situ and I pop her into the goat stall and put a pile of chicken food on the ground, because he's really quite domineering. Sally seems happy, she's over with her 2 chickens, so but she just did not fit in with that pair. It was a trio at that point, so I'm not sure that there's any point in trying to mix them up again. Oh, so that's what's happening with the animals. And the donkeys are just still being donkeys. Flower is doing well on Meredith. She had her vet visit, as I explained yesterday. Her negative Coggins certificate is through, which means she will be good to travel, and she, I think, is travelling on the 15th. And she will be travelling down with Angus, which will fill her with delight because Angus just follows her around like she's the most amazing mini horse he's ever seen. So that will fill her little heart with warmth. And then she will be down and pick up the programme down there, and hopefully with Angus in tow. So that's all good. These things are all beginning to come into play. It just takes us sometimes longer to get there, or sometimes it takes us weeks and months to get there. But you know, we're getting there eventually, I think. Oh, now I've got mail. I think I'm struggling with the mail a little bit, and I'll explain why. What happens is we get boxes in. Now, there are instructions included with a lot of the Amazon deliveries. The Cloud sends us a phenomenal sign for the outside of the mail hut, you know, instructing drivers where to put the deliveries, and still, I'm missing a delivery that came in on Friday. I cannot find it. It's a replacement pair of cleats for this one that's not working. And I know it's been delivered somewhere here. Just can't find it. We have things left at the gate. We have things left up at the entrance to my garage. And the reason I know that is because it must have been delivered about 8 o'clock at night, and then the next thing is it snowed overnight, and once we had cleared the snow, it came out from underneath the snow. The things come up to the front door, they go to Michelle's door, they don't ever make it down the hill, and sometimes it's actually just really difficult. They also leave them at the entrance to the driveway if the driveway looks slippy, which I can fully appreciate because our driveway, unless you've got 4-wheel drive, is pretty unpleasant. So there's still packages going all over the place. Another problem we have is that if I see a package, I bring it in and I put it in our house, and then Nick checks the package, and if it's got Carlene's name on it, he takes it down the hill to Carlene. And of course, if it's got Carlene's name on it, she opens it. So sometimes I have a funny feeling that things are not pass and go. They're going to the recipient, and they're not getting opened on here. So I'm not sure what the solution is, because it is nigh on impossible chasing people down for mail packages. There just needs to be a better way. And also with the mail, what happens with the mail, and this is what I personally find a little bit difficult, because Carlene is not regularly coming to mail chat at the moment. There's mail that comes in, and this piece of mail was very kindly addressed to Carlene White, 37 Boxford Road. So I don't like to take that and open it over here, because I never know whether or not it's a piece of personal mail for Carlene. So I leave anything that is addressed just to Carlene with her, and she eventually gets around to opening it. But if it's not opened in mail chat, then sometimes she forgets to say, here, you need to take this to mail chat and acknowledge this and say thank you very much. So it is getting a little bit difficult, where there's always something to sort out, and this is just another problem that we're going to have to sort out, because this letter came through today. I'm even my glasses on, and I can hardly read this. It looks like Rita or Realta, and from Nevada. And it is just a note, and it is addressed to Carlene. So the tricky thing is, I'm not sure if this is supposed to come to us or to Carlene, but I've been given it to bring here. It says, "Dear Carlene, Happy New Year. You and everyone at Goldy's Farm are doing a great job with the rescued animals and helping seniors in assisted living centres. It is a joy to watch the happiness that your animals bring to all the residents. Keep on keeping on." And she has included a very nice donation check. Now this is where it also gets a bit tricky. The donation check is made to Carlene, and it has in the memo Goldy's Farm. So I'm not sure whether I'm presuming it was meant to come to Goldy's Farm. At which point, if you'd like to reach out somehow and let me know, at which point I will have Carlene put it into her bank, and then I will chase her down for the $100 and run round after her, and we'll transfer it over that way. But it is quite difficult because Carlene, Janine, and myself, and Judy, and the board are all Goldy's Farm, and that's what we're registered as. That's what we operate as, and that's normally what I'm looking for when I see an envelope. So I'm hoping I wasn't given this back to read it mail chat inappropriately, but I have. So there, I can't take it back now. So thank you very much, and that was very kind. And I think it's to try and show how we get all ourselves a bit too entangled up with one another. This envelope here is addressed to Goldy's Farm, which is a relief, and it is, yeehaw, Bunny Rabbit's favourite, Speed Flakes. Thank you. Oh, that's lovely. We do like these. Now, this doesn't have, and I'm wondering if it came from Bob and Lisa. So if it came from Bob and Lisa, thank you very much. If not, somebody needs to let me know. Oh my goodness! And yes, the choir definitely sings. That's my lovely goat. They like you to know that they're here, so you don't forget them. Yes, my tree's still up. Oh, so I thought today was 12th day. Maybe I got that wrong. I was brought up non-dominant. I was brought up agnostic, so I am not the best. But my grandmother always used to insist on taking the tree down on the 6th of January. So now, but yes, Cloud, Janine is taking the little chicken coop, and I think I sent you the details from the job today as well, I hope. And you can just be quiet about your 66 degrees, thank you, in St. Louis. I can tell you this morning that I like my temperatures cooler, but it's been pretty frigid, shall we say, and not as cold as I have felt it, but I think once you get into a number of days when it's really very, very chilly, you get over it very quickly. And now I start sitting thinking to myself, I must remember that when we're in the middle of a heat wave in the summer, how much I really detest it, and it makes me sleepy, and it makes me just uncomfortable. I must appreciate there's cold weather, and I'm struggling to appreciate the cold weather. That's because my toes and my fingers aren't enjoying it. So it is very, very difficult. So yes, that's what Janine will do. Is now we have the February 19th court date. Janine can go away, and then she'll fly back just before February 19th. So that's I gives her a good long time to get that program up and running and settled, and she's going to be doing paperwork while she's down there. That's payback for her getting to live in warmer climates. Yes, she'll fly back from Aiken because there's people who will hold on to Wanda, and she also has an annex on her house, and she's got friends staying in the annex, so they'll look after the animals there, and then she'll just fly back down again. Ooh, figure skating in St. Louis, that's nice. I used to watch that all the time when I was a child. I used to follow Torval and Dean. That was lovely. And I was saying to my husband, we were watching all the people skating on Hood Pond, and I said, you know, every Saturday when I was growing up, I used to go with my friend Kirsty and her brother Marcus, and their father would take us all the way over to the other side of the city, and we'd go ice skating on a Saturday morning, and we just loved it. We skated to 80s music, and it was the highlight of our week, I think. Yeah, so I think what they've done is they've amalgamated the two court dates, probably for efficiency more than anything else. And the funniest thing is, Janine didn't know about this because she hadn't been notified, nor has the lawyer. So, so he's away off to go and have a little look at it and see what's going on there. Ooh, skating all over the television, that's super. That's right, that's quite correct, Klaus. He wasn't aware of the change either. But we were actually in the car when she was talking with Shep, and we sat there and we all said, "Thank goodness we've got Klaus and all the other camera people who are on top of this," because we'd have been none the wiser. And then we had a wee giggle because we thought, you know, we could have turned up there, herself, myself, and Carleen in the middle, and I said, but I'd had to have taken Carleen out for lunch after that because you need to make every good on every opportunity out of the house. There's other people having problems with Amazon deliveries going to their own apartment. I suppose the volumes are exceptionally high at this time of year. Well, I will say, Carol, I am 55, and I have definitely given up skating because I would probably spend more of my time on the ice, lying down, than skating on the ice at the moment. I managed to trip over my big feet and fall into the stall when I was putting the horses back today, and I thought, I have no idea how I did that. And I said to Janine, I've just fallen. And she said, on the ice? I said, no, in the stall. And she went, well, how did you do that? I said, I don't actually know. And she said, you're in and out of the barn all the time. I said, I know. I said, I don't know what happened. And I said, it was like slow motion. I said, I think you know that way when you're in the middle of something happens to you, and your brain starts saying, I can't believe this is happening, but you don't do anything about it. And I thought, well, yeah, in slow motion, I fell over. I think I tripped. I was going in with Sterling was behind me, and Flower and Delight was in front of me. And there's a barrier about that far where it stopped the stall door flapping in and out, and also to keep the shavings in the stall. And I went in, and it's such a stiff door, I didn't quite manage to get it as open as wide as I wanted. And Flower and Delight sort of pushed me over to one side, so I think I hooked my big foot with my cleats on it, round the door, and clipped the bit at the bottom, and And then I just went down on my knees and rolled all over the place in the shavings. So at which point the light turned and looked at me and went, odd, and walked off. I was like, okay, thanks for the help. Oh, so that's really interesting, Becky, because there was a card that went down to Carleen, and it didn't have Dawn Keys on it. It was another one. It was another sort of like, almost like made up name, and I thought, I wonder if that's from Becky. And I wonder if that's what it was. But I did give it to Carleen. Okay, it didn't come via here, it went into Carleen. Need to stick to Dawn Keys, and then I know who it is, see? Right, so Lisa, this one does not, this one just says Goldy Farm, 37 Boxwood Road. So that must be from someone else. So someone else, thank you very much. The rabbits greatly appreciate that. Janine, we think is leaving on Thursday. That'll be weather permitting, organisation permitting, and no barn emergencies permitting. Yes, I remember Bolero. That was super. See all these things to go and look up now. So, tomorrow is Wednesday. If there's something happening tomorrow, can't for the life of me remember what it is. It is not a visit. Can't remember. Oh, and we've got a massive hay delivery coming on Tuesday from Canada to Meredith. So, that'll be all hands on deck to get that stacked again. Oh, goodness gracious, I tell you, that is a massive workout. And we're so very fortunate that the gentlemen who built the beautiful stone walls, they come in and they give us assistance because they're stacked so far above shoulder height. There's probably about another 2 or 3 bales to go on top of, and I just cannot lift above 2 bales high. So we're very fortunate in that we have a really super, very helpful and very generous team to come in very cold weather, and it's arduous work and it's really heavy and everybody's exhausted at the end of it. But the animals must eat, so that's what we'll be up to on Tuesday. I think we've been on the farm, I think it'll be 2 years this summer. But then again, don't rely on me because my sense of time and date could be totally and utterly wrong. I'm wondering if it's even 3 years this summer. Somebody else will know better than me. Please, help. So, it'll come back to me what we're doing tomorrow. But tomorrow is the turn in the weather. It should be going up to sort of like mid-40s. So I am hoping that all of our ice statues and all of our ice statues, by that I mean all of the frozen blocks that are inside the water buckets that we have to dump inside. I'm hoping that they are going to begin melting, and that would be most helpful because it's only really the beginning of winter, and this weather can go on for quite some time. Does anyone know when we arrived on the farm? I think it must be 2 years this summer, I think. Anyway, so that's us. That's us all up to date with the comings and goings and upside downs and roundabouts. And have a nice evening. I'm going to go and I think I might have to cook dinner. Something like that. Something domesticated. Right, so we'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, it was 2 to 3 years ago, wasn't it? Oh, I'll have to ask Nick. He remembers these things, not me. I am terrible with numbers. Okay, so we'll be back tomorrow, and everybody have a lovely evening. Stay warm. Now, right, let's put this up here. Oh, gloves. Gloves. That up there. Go.